as a parachute fly. But at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the remains of things like half a hackle. In this case, I've used the tip of this CDC feather for a shuttlecock fly. Now I'm going to use the bottom. The piece you would probably throw away, but don't do that because this is very good for a wing post, and at the same time giving a good impression of the wing. Now it's quite a simple fly to tie. Now the hook I'm using, this is a size 16 B160. It's basically got the shank length of a 16 but the gape of a size 14. Thread, I'm going to be using a chartreuse, which is a nice bright greeny yellow. This is basically when I fish these midge patterns, I'm fishing in the evening, and I find a fluorescent thread being used works extremely well. Now first thing I'm going to do is just put a wee drop wax onto the thread. And we start at the eye. I'm going to come down about halfway, and then I'm going to come back halfway back up. This will give me basically the measure for the wing. Now the length of the wing is the length of the hook. So if you look, imagine there's the length of the hook there. Tie it forward, pulling all the fibres onto it. Do a couple of turns to catch it in, and then 2 or 3 turns in front to lock it up. And then come in and remove the excess. Now what I'm going to do, this is the tip of a standard hackle. This is basically a satin neck or a cape. It's been dyed olive, it's a grizzle. And this is the tip of the hackle. And we tie this on. So first thing we do is remove fibres from the bottom. Doesn't matter how you tie it on. Just get it, tie it onto the back. Meaning, people always wanted the hackle to have the natural curve set in a certain way. To me, it doesn't really matter on this fly. It doesn't matter really in any fly, because as long as when you do the parachute, spreads the fibre, it'll sit anyway. Now, what I'm going to do here then is post both the hackle and the wing at the same time. Just come in, hold the materials, and then wind up about maybe 4 or 5 turns, and then come back down, lift the material out the way and bring the thread to the back, ready to tie in your body. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the length of the ultra chenille. There we are. The length of the body I'm looking for is the length of the hook, which will go over the back. I'm just going to slightly taper it. I'm going to cut it so that I taper the chenille. Suede chenille is quite thick, and want to try and remove some of the excess bulk. Catch this on the top. Just watch your, don't catch too much of the CDC in, and then nice and tight. Now I've waxed the thread so they'll get plenty of grip. Just check the length, that looks okay. Nice and tight. I'm just going to take the thread down just to try and balance the thread turns a bit. And there we are. Now put a tiny bit of dubbing in. Now I'm just going to use a natural dubbing, and this is fox squirrel. You only need a wee drop, you don't need a lot. Double it onto your thread. And basically what you're doing is forming a small thorax. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not doing it perfect. I'm just covering the area. That's maybe too much. Just lift your, winding your hackle out the way. Take away your excess. And then form your parachute. Now I can do it by hand, or you can use a small pair of hackle pliers. Now because I've actually taken the hackle up, posted both the hackle and the wing, I've taken bringing the hackle up, posting it, I'm going to bring it back down, so when I do a turn, the next one should be underneath, and so on, working your way down. Just take your time. till you have enough hackle. Come round, drop it below the hook on my side, hold the tip of the hackle, bring the thread round, catch it down nice and tight. Now what I do then is basically come round the other side and then fold it back. Just really got to be quick. It's one of those things that you've got to do. You can't stop. If you do pause or stop, you'll end up missing the hackle. Something you've got to practice. Now put a wee bit of wax on. Now what I'm going to do is rub my fingers onto the thread to take away the excess. And then so you either use some varnish, or in my case I'm using some super glue here, on the first centimetre or so. And then come in and wet finish. 1, 2, 3. A bit of fluff there. Take it out of the way. Pull and hold. And trim away your thread. And there we are. And that there's a small parachute midge. Now it's a great wee pattern. I would certainly tie in all the colours. Whatever colour the chenille you have, the ultra chenille, try it. And it'll work in the rivers as much as it'll work in the logs.